With me now on the comfy couch is someone who I met, I think it was probably his second or third week on the job, and it was we were just headed into COVID.
Yep.
Brent Mason, you are the executive director of the Foss Waterway Seaport. Welcome back, and we're going to talk about the 2025 preview, aren't
Absolutely.
we? So, my gosh, first off, this preview is a big, big deal. So tell me what you got going here.
Well, I think the biggest and best thing is our free admission. We went through about 9 months of calling museums that are free, finding out sort of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Wow.
And we just made a conscious decision. You know, there's not a lot that we have control over in the sense of, you've been down there, you know,
Yes.
that parking can be a hassle.
Yep.
There's no bus routes down there.
Correct.
So when you talk about accessibility, the only thing that we have control over in that respect is to make the museum free.
Yeah.
So if people can find a way down, then we don't want it to be a barrier. And what we're finding, I mean, even in this early going, is that we have people that will walk along the Esplanade, and maybe normally they might check in, find out that it costs, and then go on their way. Now those people are walking along the Esplanade, check in, find out that it's free, and then come in and spend a couple of hours with us. So we're super excited about the free admission piece, and we think it's something that Tacoma deserves.
Absolutely. So I love that you spent 9 months calling all these museums. And I bet when they picked up and you told them what you were or why you were calling, the next question was, is this a good time for us to talk? Because there's lots of information out there about free admission. We have our Children's Museum, Green Trike, does free admission, and now you have jumped on that bandwagon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, it's not, it's not for everybody.
No.
So everybody kind of has their thing that they have to do, and it was just kind of the right mix for us. Several of those museums that I called have been free forever, so it wasn't an adjustment for them. But with us, it was, and like I said, it just felt like the right thing.
Well, obviously it is, because you're seeing some great results from it.
We are.
So you've switched up some events this year. Virtual Thursdays, Tacoma Ocean Fest. I know that in your brain you have a bucket list of events, so I am going to let you just roll them out.
Yeah, we use these words. I've already used it of accessibility and inclusivity, and certainly going free allows for some of that. But it's also being able to provide events that are of interest to the community, to a broader community.
Right.
So we have, we've started an event, or we're going to, February 13th, our first Thursdays on Tap.
There we go.
It's a 21 and up event. It's kind of an open house. People can come down, they can have beverages, food, play games, be able to see the museum without kids. Love kids. However,
absolutely love kids.
However, adults need to be without kids from time to time. So this is an opportunity to do that. We've also got a Ground to Sound film festival that we are doing in partnership with the city's Environmental Services Department. Foster's Creative is involved with this. And it's really kind of digging into our green-friendly environmental bent that we have. We've got Chowder Social, which you and I have talked about numerous times.
Will you explain how that started, because we do have time?
Okay, with Chowder Social, gosh, I think it was a couple years prior to me coming on board, so I think we're into year 7. And as you know, because I think not only did we talk about it when I started back in the late 19, but I think we talked about it even in a Zoom Cityline.
From my kitchen.
Yes,
I
remember, and we talked about it because we didn't get rid of it. We did a drive-through version, and then we took a year off.
Right.
And then we've brought it back to, a couple of years ago to being in person. And yeah, if you're, who doesn't like chowder?
Thank you.
In the Pacific Northwest, it's got to be the chata, doesn't
it?
So yeah, we've got a lot of different things, and then we wrap up the year in November with an event called Ciders and Sails, and that is going to be a cider tasting event that really is leaning into our maritime history. Again, kind of a 21 and over, but there's something for everybody down at the seaport, and we just want to make sure that we provide enough for everybody to want to come down and see.
Let's talk about some conversion of the recreation pumps that pump out something that you'd like to talk about.
Yeah, well, as we had talked about before the show, you know, everybody poops, right?
That's
I'm not
a
sure if
book
we
and
can
it's
say that
the
on
truth.
Cityline,
Well, we
but
just did.
we just did. So yeah, you can cut that out. Yeah, you know, it's funny, and I'll try to make this short and sweet. Back in 2018, I think the feds passed a Clean Vessel Water Act. Great for our waters, right?
Right.
In the process, they put a lot of money into building recreation pump outs. So if you or I had boats and we were out and we needed to be able to get rid of the waste, plenty of places to be able to do that. But they didn't account for all of the commercial vessels, which are the tugs and the barges,
Right.
small cruise ships, that type of thing. They had nowhere to go, except, and they probably don't like to hear me say this, somewhere far, far out into the ocean.
Oh.
And we know that there's been a lot of work, a lot of money spent on cleaning up the waterway in Commencement Bay. So we have an opportunity. The city approached us about a year ago to convert one of our recreation pump outs into a commercial version, which would then serve those commercial operators. It would be one of only 2 in the Puget Sound.
Wow.
So you see all of those tugs,
Yes.
all of those barges, all of that, and you wonder, what do they do with all the stuff? Well, again, they have 2 choices. They can go up to Seattle, or they can do something else that we don't like to think about. So now they'll have an opportunity to come to the seaport and do their business.
Brilliant.
Literally and figuratively.
Brilliant. All right. Last 30 seconds here. Who do we have to thank for all of the programming and just the beautiful blooming of this museum?
It's got to be staff. You always hear me talk about my staff.
I do.
And my board. And you know, the thing about it is that those people, those names, don't change a whole lot.
No.
And I'm going to make one final push. I want to put an early plug in for hopefully our state legislature.
Yes.
Big session for us. I told you before the show. The Seaport's got a lot of money riding on that session, but I'm also going to say that a lot of my peers at other museums, other nonprofits throughout Tacoma are really banking on our local state people doing their work.
All right, so we'll leave it at that.
Let's do that.
Thank you so
As
much
always,
for
thank you.
being here.
You bet.
We have much more to come on Cityline. We're going to have the Nail Fairy in the studio when we come back. You don't want to miss that.